Okay, just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, it's about that time. I'm gonna start on time, even though there can be a big call for God outside as far as parking is concerned. Yes. Say, how's everybody doing? You okay? Feeling good? Well, good, good, good. Welcome to A Course in Miracles. Welcome to A Course in Miracles on Facebook Live. It's always good to have my brothers and sisters from all over the world checking us out, feeling good. And if you get a chance, go ahead and share the video on your timeline so we can have other folks check out what we are talking about today. If you're here for the first time, we're not going to break out any Kool-Aid or nothing like that. Everything, it's all good, you say. Some coffee, yeah. If you're here for the first time, anybody here for the first time? Okay, wow. All righty. Okay. Well, I want to acknowledge you for your open-mindedness and your willingness to come check out something new. Yeah, that's cool. The only guidelines to the Course in Miracles is that it says, remember only this: you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept the ideas, you need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you might go, well, no, I resist that. That's fine. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. Some of the stuff I might say, you might go, that's hard to believe. Okay, that may indeed occur. Some of the ideas might be quite startling. But it's not that you're asked to analyze the ideas at all. You know, you can, we do, that's our nature. But if you use the ideas, you'll see that the ideas themselves will give the ideas meaning to you, and the ideas will show you that the ideas are true. So the purpose of the Course in Miracles is to remove the blocks to the awareness of love inside yourself. It's about changing your perception, changing your interpretation. Most people don't know that their feelings are coming from their thoughts. They kind of act like their feelings just happen to them, but actually your feelings are a reaction to meanings and thoughts and ideas that you're giving yourself. If I step on your foot and you think I did it on purpose, there would be a tendency for a person to get angry, right? And then as soon as I say, oh, I'm sorry, that was an accident, I didn't really mean to step on your foot, the average person would go, oh, okay, and they'd immediately drop their anger. Like at first they were totally mad. As soon as they got another interpretation, what happened? The anger just miraculously disappeared. Yeah. And sometimes we act like that's not true in every area of our life. You know, we'll act like certain feelings are just happening to us. No, it's happening in every situation. It's the meaning that you're giving a situation that's generating your emotional response. That's why one person can touch you on your shoulder and you like that person and you're giving them the meaning that they're cool and they're safe, and you go, ah, boy, that feels good. Now, if you never met me before and I come up and rub you on your shoulder beside calling 911, you know what I'm saying? You would probably have a totally different reaction. But actually, the same thing happened. My hand touched your shoulder. So if you just had to feel good when someone touched your shoulder, you wouldn't have had any choice but to feel good when I touched your shoulder, even if you didn't know me. But the fact that one person can do it and you feel cool about it, and another person can do the exact same thing and you get upset about it, means that it's really the meaning that you're giving to it that's determining how you're feeling. Can everybody see that? Now, I want you to take a minute to just think about the ramifications of that idea. That means that you could potentially never lose your peace. If you could learn how to give meanings to things that would allow you to keep your peace, you could be peaceful all day, no matter what happens. That means somebody pulling out in front of you in traffic doesn't have to mean you get mad. you're getting mad because that's what you do. I was back in another life 30 years ago. I was a telephone installer repairman. You should have seen me with my tools hanging on me. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, we won't go into that. But I won't even touch that. That's the advanced class.
After hours.
I'm sincere, but I'm not serious. So those of you who are looking for somebody to be serious for an hour, you're going to be seriously disappointed. All right, I'm here to have a good time. I'm not here to be hard-nosed. Because in the end, you're going to believe what you want to believe, and you're going to accept what you want to accept, and you're going to let go. You know, so I've been doing this almost 40 years, so I'm okay with how people react to me. But so the Course in Miracles then is saying, what I want to do is, I want to give you a lot of new interpretations of things that could give you more peace about how you're seeing things, right? And then the premise of A Course in Miracles is that if you have peace of mind and you don't have a lot of conflict, you can hear your own inner guidance. You can hear the voice for truth, the voice for love. You can say the voice for God, Spirit. It's in each and every one of us. It's not something that's outside of us. The Course in Miracles teaches that we're always receiving guidance 24 hours a day from our higher power from within ourselves. But we're so busy listening to ourselves. We're so busy listening to the programming that we've gotten from the world and from our childhood and from our past that we are not hearing that still small voice within us. So my goal is not to put you in the hands of anything or anybody outside of yourself. My goal is to help you remove the blocks to hearing your own inner guidance. That's my goal, is to make myself ultimately unnecessary. And I've done that successfully in a lot of people's lives. I'm no longer necessary, even up to 900 feet. But anyway, that's a whole other story. We won't talk about the past. The past is over. That's right. No, that's true. I haven't had anybody that's had a restraining order out on me yet. I've done a little restraining, but that's a whole other story. We won't talk about that one either. Okay, so the Course says that it's the use of the ideas that will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. It's using it. So the purpose of the Course in Miracles is to give you new interpretations of things that if you use those interpretations and you learn how to use those interpretations, it would give you more peace. And when you have more peace, then you can hear your inner guidance. That makes sense, right? And then the Course basically says that there are two ways of thinking. Even though we think there are many ways of thinking, the Course says there's a way of thinking that's based on love and unity and joining. And then there's another way of thinking that's based on the fact that we're separate and us having fear of each other, reacting to each other as strangers. So even though, there's either basically we're looking at things from a perspective of love, or we're looking at things from a perspective of fear or separation. And it has many different names. So love might go by the name of happiness, joy, health, prosperity, abundance, fun. Those are all aspects of love. And fear may go by, I'm angry, I'm guilty, I'm upset, I'm sick, I feel attacked, I feel lack. These are, in the Course in Miracles, are called forms of fear. Everybody still with me? Yes. All right. And it's also saying something very radical, which is you and I did not create ourselves. Yes, that we actually have a creator, but that creator, from a Course perspective, is not like a person in the sky. It's a spiritual consciousness of love and being and infinite intelligence that we're all a part of, and that these bodies, as luscious as they are, and I have to admit you all did pretty good on the luscious body parts, the body, it says, is your medium of communication. It's your communication device. I'm talking to you because, and you hear me because I'm doing it through my body. That the body is actually just a medium of communication. Without it, you couldn't talk to me. But because my body isn't here, it wouldn't necessarily mean that I'm not here. Just because you may not have a radio, it doesn't mean that the radio station isn't still broadcasting. You just don't pick up the signal unless you got a radio. And this is what our body is. We are able, as spiritual beings on this plane, we're able to communicate to each other because we have physical bodies that we use to communicate with each other. But the Course is basically saying we've now confused ourselves with the communication device, which is the same as confusing the radio station with the radio. So you are more, in other words, you are more than your body. You are actually a spiritual being. You're actually a consciousness that is having a human experience, that you're having the experience of being in a human form, in a human body. It also teaches us that the earth is a temporary classroom that evolving souls enter to grow more loving and to let go of all the blocks to love and to learn how to be more loving and more peaceful and more connected. And I say to people often, even if all that's a bunch of crap and is not true, how are you being harmed by the idea of being more loving and more peaceful and more caring? Even if none of this is true, what is wrong with the idea of coming together to love each other and be more peaceful with each other? So it's not about whether or not you believe all these premises, but what's really cool is that we can get new ways of looking at things that would allow us to let that which created us, the love that created us, to let that part of us take over more in our lives instead of the part of us that's full of fear and doubt and suspicion. I would much rather the part of Earl that is stable and solid and loving and free and aware and conscious and peaceful. I'd much rather for that part of me to be directing my experience than the part of me that's afraid and sick and angry and guilty and suspicious, which the Course says that's the part of us that we've been using as an advisor. and because we're using the fearful part of the mind as our advisor, it says, and then we go into agreement with that part of us, then that's what we perceive. Because the premise is you're going to perceive what you believe, and what you believe is coming from what you've learned and what you have been taught and what you have experienced. So everyone sees a world that's based on their own thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs, both conscious and unconscious. So that says that you have a lot of thoughts and a lot of beliefs that you may not be aware of. Just like when you look at an iceberg, there are parts of the iceberg that's above the water, but you all know usually the larger part of the iceberg is underwater. It's the part you don't see, okay? So who you think you are is the tip of an iceberg. You have a lot of subconscious beliefs and experiences that you have had over eons, not just this lifetime, that's affecting the way you see things. So unconscious thoughts are just thoughts that are unwatched. They're thoughts I have that I'm not aware that I have. That's why I call it subconscious. That's why I call it unconscious. So the next question is, people ask, well, how do I get in touch with my unconscious thoughts? Well, your unconscious thoughts, those are the reflections of what you see in the world that you don't identify with is coming from you. So that which I'm not aware of, I become aware of it through the projection of it in my world. For instance, let's say I see a beam coming from a flashlight that I'm not holding, but actually let's say it's strapped to my leg. And I see the beam of light, right? But I'm not aware of it, right? So how would I know that I had the flashlight attached to my leg shooting out a beam of light unless I saw the light out in front of me? So the way I became aware of what was going on that I didn't know about was I was looking at it. See, so your relationships are coming from your thoughts. Your financial situation is coming from your thoughts. I know that's good news. Everybody's so happy to see. I can just tell that it just blew. Everybody felt so good. I know my bank account couldn't be coming from me. Yeah, I'm afraid it is. I'm afraid it is. How I'm seeing my children, my relatives, my friend, my partner, where's that coming from? That's coming from me. Because I'm the one that's interpreting everything I see. So in case you're wondering what's going on in your mind that you don't know about, take a look at your friends, take a look at your life, take a look at your relationships, take a look at your spiritual awareness, take a look at your family, and how you're seeing everything that's coming from you. Woo! So now you don't even have to claim you don't know what's going on subconsciously. Now you know. Yes. But that's also true of all the loving people, all the cool people, all the situations in your life that you feel great about. That's still coming from your perception. The way you see it is coming from your consciousness. Okay, so now in the course, and I'm going through this in detail even for people who've been here before, because I think sometimes we need to be reminded.
Oh, yeah.
And in the Course in Miracles says a miracle, the reason why it's called a Course in Miracles is because a miracle is a correct perception. It's a loving perception. He says a miracle is a truly right answer. So the Course is saying, if you all see things correctly, it's a miracle. And so it's called a Course in Miracles. That's why it's called a Course in Miracles. And if y'all see each other with some love, that's a freaking miracle. So it's called a Course in Miracles. I think the humor of it is great. Course in Miracles, you having the right perception, Earl, that's a miracle, boy. We're going to call this a Course in Miracles. Okay. So that's, so that's the quick thing. So, but basically it's only talking about love or fear, and I'm going to break it down in such a way because it uses Christian terminology to talk about universal spiritual themes. All right, so I'm going to, one more time, I'm going to cover the guidelines real quick, and then we're going to dive into the message for today. Okay, here we go. Take a breath. Take a deep breath right now. And listen to the guidelines for the course. All you on Facebook Live, welcome, my mighty companions. Guess what? Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not even welcome the ideas. Some of the ideas you may actively resist. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe. I'm going to say that one more time. Some of the ideas you will find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. Say what? Others may seem to be quite startling. Guess what? You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. You are not asked to analyze the ideas at all. Their use will give the ideas meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. What? Their use will give the idea meaning to you and will show you that the ideas are true. Now tell loving spirit, show me that the ideas are true, loving spirit. Show me that the ideas are true, loving spirit. Show me that the ideas are true. I want to know. I want to see it. So I'm gonna share some, throw it open for questions or comments, and share some more. Okay? All right. So we're on page 320. 320 in the text. If you don't have the text, that's okay. 320 in the text. I got a little couple of longer copies left up here in case you want to follow along. It's a section called The Only Real Relationship. The Only Real Relationship is in chapter 15, for those online, chapter 15, the Holy Instant, The Only Real Relationship, page 320, in the Foundation for Inner Peace version of the Course of Miracles. So I'm going to use some of the Course in Miracles definitions and substitutions for some of this word, for some of these words, because it's only talking about love or fear. So the first paragraph, I'm going to go through it. And the Holy Spirit is nothing but your loving self, the divine loving self that we all have that's guiding us, that loving part of us, that divine part of us that's still connected to Source. That's when it says Holy Spirit. If it says holy instant, it's talking about the loving instant, the healing instant. So the first sentence says the healing instant, the holy instant, the loving instant does not replace the need for learning. For the Holy Spirit, your higher power, your loving self, must not leave you as your teacher until the loving instant has extended far beyond time. So there's a need for us to learn how to remove the blocks to love and the blocks to healing. Then we're told, there's another thing too. I've been doing this for 38 years. It's one of the most erroneous things that I hear people say is that they don't think they need to still keep focusing in on it. I got it now, so there's nothing new for me to hear. You're right. At a certain point, it should be repetition. It should be you letting yourself hear the truth over and over again. You know why? Because your physical experience is going to be a reflection of what you believe, and what you believe comes from what you tell yourself over and over and over again, or what somebody else has told you over and over again until you get to the point that you believe it. And when you believe it, you see it. If I don't love myself, if I don't think I'm worthy of love because I've been told that over and over again, or I've had situations in my past that's taught me that I'm unlovable and I don't deserve love, that belief is going to guarantee that when I seek out a relationship, I'm probably going to seek out someone who doesn't love me, who validates the idea that I'm not lovable, because that's what I believe about myself. So I would be suspicious of someone who was showing me love and be much more attracted to somebody who was being much more unloving, because that fit in more with the idea that I have about myself. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm telling you, do not judge anything about your life and think that you have to stay stuck in any situation that you're in based on what you've experienced and gone through in the past. Because all you're doing is reliving an old program in a way that you're looking at things over and over again. If you want a new life, you have to use new thoughts. You're not going to have a new life without new thoughts. Because without new thoughts, then you're not allowing yourself to call to you new situations and circumstances. So most people do it the other way around. They go, I'm going to change when the change is on the outside, then I'm going to change. See, that's just like saying, when I'm standing in front of a mirror and when the shirt I have on changes in the mirror first, then I know the change has happened. And you know nothing's going to change in the mirror unless I change the shirt I'm wearing. So as long as you look outside yourself and think any change that you want to have in your life is going to come through somebody else or something else ultimately changing, you're going to be stuck in whatever situation that you're in. Most people use their mind so that they can figure out what other than their own mind needs to change. Most people are using their mind to figure out who else needs to change and who else needs to change their mind. They're not using their mind to come up with how they need to change. They're usually using their mind to come up with how everybody else needs to change. So the Course is saying to us that you have a teacher that's not going to leave you as a teacher until you experiencing love extends beyond a minute, an hour, a second, a year, 10 years. That part of you wants you to have a love that extends beyond time, a love that never ends. So our higher power wants us to have an eternal, unending, constant, permanent, ever expanding joy and happiness. Oh, yeah.
One more time.
We were stunned.
Is that a trick question? Are you trying to fool us some kind of way? No, we've already fooled ourselves.
Yes.
The fooling has already happened. The deception has already happened. So what is Course in Miracles telling me? It says you have an inner teacher. That teacher isn't going to lead you until you have holy, happy, healing, loving instants that are not temporary. Then it says, guess what? For a teaching assignment such as the assignment that your loving higher self has, the Holy Spirit, he says, that part of you must use everything in this world for your release. So what is that saying? That which loves us, that which teaches us, our inner teacher, our divine guide from within, will use everything in this world for your healing and for your release. So I love you. What does that mean? It means that I won't leave you until you are experiencing a love that you can never lose. Not only that, I'm going to use everything in this world for your benefit, for your good, and for your release. So if I was in a relationship, because the Course is trying to tell us how love operates, so I always take this into a relationship, right? So what does that say? It's saying that if I am experiencing love with someone, then I also want to use everything in our relationship for our healing and our release. That I want Spirit to use everything in the relationship for our healing and our release. And I think it's interesting that the Course associates love with release. Love with freedom, in other words. And it says in the world, fear-based people, as the Course would call it, the ego, that's a person that associates love with limitation and with fear. So a person that's fear-based, when you say love, it makes them feel afraid, and they think of love as how can I limit and control the person I love. And then a person that's coming from real love is going, how can I release and free you to be who you are and support who you are, and not make the relationship based on me possessing you in such a way that you are not free to express who and what you really are. So the Course says, when I'm trying to teach you, Earl, the difference between love and fear, he says, you all are actually calling fear love, and you are calling love something to be afraid of. The Course says we got it exactly the opposite. It's the people we love that we limit the most, and the people we don't love that we free the most. If we'll be honest with ourselves. Yeah, it's the people that we see ourselves as being in love with that I have the biggest scripts for. I have the biggest expectations. I have all the ideas about what they're supposed to do. Guess what? For me. Okay? It's about me, you understand? Completely about me. Okay? And so the Course is saying love will use everything in this world for your release. So how does love do that? He says, well, love, which is the Holy Spirit, which is your higher self, must side with every sign or token of your willingness to learn of love what the truth must be. So the Course is saying you have an inner teacher, you have an inner guide. It's going to side with every little sign of your willingness to finally learn of your higher self. And what is it that you are trying to learn through your higher self? What the truth really is. I really want to know what the truth really is. I really want to know what love really is. And I want the part of me that knows what it is to teach me what it is. And it says that part of you will side with every sign and every token, any little thing you do to show that you're willing to learn another way to look at things. That's what love would do. I want you to learn the truth of how I feel about you. I'm going to side with every little sign and every little willingness that you have for me to be able to show you what love really is, because that's what love does. Love looks for every opportunity it can to show you that you're loved. So if I'm in a truly loving relationship, I'm looking for every opportunity for real love to come through me to you, which is going to release you, not condemn you, not judge you, not guilt trip you, and not attack you. See, I'm learning what love is. So therefore, now when someone's trying to guilt trip me, attack me, I know, oh, they are afraid. They are not expressing love to me. They're expressing fear to me. They think they're going to lose some kind of way, because the Course teaches that all fear is some form of the fear of loss. Okay, so I'm jealous because I think I might lose. I'm angry because I think I might lose. So fear and anger are coming from the belief in loss and losing. Someone you knew that you had a real relationship with that was invulnerable, you would not be jealous around and with, because there would be no threat. Would be no way you thought you were going to lose it. So all of that's coming from fear of loss. Now, the funny thing is the person that's the most upset or jealous or insecure, afraid the other person may leave them, the truth is, it's usually the other way around. The person who is most jealous and insecure, the one that's most likely out of their fear to separate. Because they're afraid. So they're accusing you, but you better watch them.
That's right.
That's who you better watch. Because they're revealing they're the ones who have a lack of faith in the relationship. You may be chilled out. You may be, oh, I'm totally satisfied with the relationship. Everything's cool. They're scared to death that you're going to leave them or that you're going to hurt them or whatever. And it's like, okay, the person that's most afraid of the bear is the one that might run away. So the person that's most afraid of you is the one that might be the one that fooled you. And they may be the one that abandoned you. Even while they're accusing you of being the one that might do it. But you cool. You weren't even thinking about it. So what I love about A Course in Miracles is that it will definitely make parts of you mad. I tell people all the time, the Course in Miracles has something in it that's guaranteed to offend everyone. Okay, so I don't care how open-minded you think you are, you're probably going to come across your sentence that makes you go, oh no, okay, this can't be true. That's what I love about it. That's what turned me on about it, because it was challenging me. It was saying things to me that I didn't necessarily want to hear or take a look at, because that's how I know I'm hearing something new. I'm hearing something new and it's very different, and it's different from what I necessarily may be thinking or believing or have learned. The nature of something that's new is that it's going to be different. But sometimes we come into new situations saying that we want to experience new things, but all we want to hear is what we already believe, which wouldn't be new. And so then we edit out everything that the person says that we don't already believe. We accept exactly what they say that agree with our beliefs and leave no different than how we were when we came in. Think about that, because that's what the average person does. They look for validation of their viewpoint more so than I want you to tell me something that could be true that's outside of my realm of my thoughts. I'm going to throw it up in just a second, okay? Okay. Then it goes on to say, the Holy Spirit, your higher self, is swift to utilize whatever you offer your higher self on behalf of this. Love's concern and care, your higher self's concern and care, the Holy Spirit's concern and care for you are limitless. So here's another definition of love. Okay, if it's love, its concern and care for you is unlimited. If it's real love, there is no limit to my care. There is no limit to my concern. There's no limit to my appreciation if it's coming from real love. Now, what I discovered the more I read the Course was I kind of understood why my relationships went the way they did. Because I realized, based on what I was hearing, that I had not been doing real love. Because my love was conditional, and it did have a lot of scripts, and it wasn't really free. And I did use anger and guilt to try to get people to do what I wanted them to do when they didn't do it. So then there's a part of me that would say, well, beat yourself up for that. You're not really a loving person. You're not doing nothing this book's saying. That's why I want to read it, because I don't want to know how much I'm not doing. So I get depressed because I ain't doing none of this stuff. Well, I don't want to read this book yet. You know. You know, how to use guilt trips against everybody all the time for happiness. That's the book I want to read, right? Guilt trips for happiness. That's the book I want to read. That's the one that kind of corresponds with the way I do things. You know what I'm saying? Oh, God. So don't feel bad. This book isn't meant to depress. It's not supposed to be a depressing class, unless you know you ain't doing a damn thing I'm talking about. Then I'll tell you. What about a knife at your partner's throat this morning? Does that count? Well, that is a call for love. That is might be a hint some love need to come into the relationship somewhere. Just saying. And then people want to rush fast. They want to go fast. Because I'm American. I know how to read. I want to go really fast. No, I'm going slow. He said slow is deadly. Because you have to think about something when it's coming at you slowly. You have to give you a minute, you know. Then, of course, the miracle says, love's concern and care for you is limitless. In the face of your fear of forgiveness. In the fear of fear of being seen correctly, being seen with love. The Course says, which love perceives as clearly as love knows, forgiveness is release. So A Course in Miracles definition of forgiveness would be release. I forgive you, I release you, I forgive you, I release you, I forgive you, I release you, I release you, I forgive you, I release you from the misperceptions, the anger, the grievances, all of that. I'm releasing you, I forgive you. So sometimes when relationships break up, people think that it means it's a grievance. And they don't realize in some cases when the relationship breaks up, that's because you just forgave each other. You forgave each other enough not to be with each other.
Yeah.
You give each other so much grievances and so much attack and unhappiness that actually forgiveness for you all would not be subjecting you all to each other's misperceptions anymore and really just want each one of you to have peace. Hello? Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
See, to me, the cruel person is the person that stays with you and they don't like you. And you see a lot of that, where a person is not being loving to their partner and goes ballistic if they see anybody else being friendly toward their partner. The person they've never said, I appreciate, I love you in months. That same person will go crazy with jealousy and anger because someone else speaks to you. That's cruel. I'm with you, I'm not going to appreciate you, and I'd be damned if I'm going to let anybody else appreciate you too. And guess what? I love you. I love you. I've done it all. I've done everything I'm talking about. That's why I'm teaching this stuff. I need to change so bad I became a teacher. That's how you know this dude needs to get over some jealousy, some anger, some guilt. The teacher is the learner. Don't you ever think you are ever learning from a teacher who isn't learning the stuff that they're teaching.
Yeah, that's right.
Even if they stand in front of you and act like they perfected it. Don't you fall for that. Because in the world, people tend to not want to listen to you as a teacher unless they think you perfected it.
Yeah. Right.
See, they don't realize your best teacher is somebody who could relate to what you're going through.
Yes.
Because they're using this and maybe they're a few steps ahead of you, but not 10 miles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have a serious inferiority complex if you try to hang out with Jesus for a day. You know, he walking on water, you can't hardly walk on high heels. You know? I tried it, and it's hard. I have to acknowledge you ladies out there, but he was walking anywhere with high heels on. It's just an amazing thing. And that's when I was going through a few identity issues I was trying to work through. You know?
You're going to scare these new people away.
Oh, no. The people that are for you, they'll be there no matter what.
Yeah.
See, one of the best ways to make sure you're surrounded by people who support you is to be your authentic self and see who hangs.
Yeah, right.
Because once you start deceiving a person so you can be with them, you have to keep that deception going. That's why you have to be aware of that when you're looking for a relationship and you meet somebody new, and before you know it, you're trying to act out what you think will impress them as opposed to the fact that you like to pick your toes at the dinner table. You know what I'm saying? They need to know these things. You know, this could be a person that's into feet. You know what I'm saying? And for them, it'd be like, oh, I've been waiting for you all my life. Where have you been? Where have you been? And the Course in Miracles too? Whoa! Whoa, I got some clippers right here, baby. I clipped your toenail right next to the roll, right next to the biscuits. This is a holy class. This is a holy class. Don't y'all forget, this is sacred. This is sacred.
Sacred clippings.
This is a sacred toenails. Okay. I'm gonna give you a chance to talk. Don't worry. I'm just taking it slow. Okay. So remember, forgiveness is what? Release. So love, your higher self, the Holy Spirit, will teach you to remember that forgiving somebody is not loss, but it's your salvation, it's your healing. Forgiveness means correct perception, true perception. So seeing each other correctly is our healing. Seeing you correctly is my healing. Seeing you as someone that deserves love as much as I do. Seeing you as an unlimited spiritual being who creates your reality, who is not a victim of your experience, who has power. You know, that's your salvation. is how you're seeing yourself and how you're allowing yourself to be seen. So the Course says, and that in complete forgiveness, and how can you tell when you've done complete forgiveness? It says, in complete forgiveness, you recognize that there is nothing to forgive. And that's how you are absolved completely. So when I really forgive, I'll know it because I won't see anything to forgive. Why? Because I have forgiven.
Right.
You see, if I've forgiven, there's nothing for me to forgive. So it can't be that I've forgiven you completely and still see some things I need to forgive you for. See the simplicity of sanity. That's so, what? That just sounds sane. I live in the world. I'm not used to hearing sanity. Go on, say it one more time. Okay. The Course in Miracles says we're totally sane beings who have learned insane lessons. So we think we're crazy. No, you just learned some crazy stuff. And you've been trying to live according to crazy stuff. And he says, and you're missing the obvious clue that what you've learned is crazy stuff. The obvious clue is how much attack, fear, separation, upset, insanity we're seeing in our world around us. That's the easy clue. You know, would I be in a world full of murder, death, and attack, broken into by periods where I go to a movie?
And watch other murder.
And then watch other people get murdered and attacked. You know, we missed, you know, I grew up in the thought system that made me want to fear you before I love you, have suspicion of you before I would trust you. That's what I learned. I've learned that you may be my enemy because your body has another color skin than my body. So therefore I got to look out for you. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I learned. I learned that I could be a victim because of my body, my race, my color, everything else. That's what I learned. You know, I learned that my God was a punishing God, that my Creator wanted to burn me in hell forever because somehow or another I was connected to His Son dying 2,000 years before I was even born.
Yeah, you were a really bad boy.
And then I asked, now that's a bad boy. Now that's a bad boy. You know, I want you to feel totally innocent, but you killed the Son of God. Wait, hold it. Wait a minute. Hold it. I can't even write yet. And so I was told to question any of this. Was you just didn't. You know? Because I would ask questions like that. If Adam and Eve were the first two people on the face of the earth,
Didn't know where they
and then they said they got married, and then I said, well, who did they marry? If they were the first people ever created. Where's neighborhood did they go? Was it a Tinder back then or somebody? Well, I would ask questions. And I would be told immediately, don't you dare ask any questions. Now, I felt there was a connection to God. I wanted a connection to spirit. My soul knew that what created me was loving, but I was being told something that didn't feel right for me. And then I came to find out I wasn't the only one that felt that way. And so I was glad to meet other people who wanted a perception of God that was much less fearful and loving. And since your belief system is up to you, you don't have to believe anything unless you want to believe it. People forget that too. You know, how do you know the power of your thought? You know the power of your thought when you think what you want to think. That's how you get in touch with the power of your thought, is you think what you want to think. That's how you get in touch with it. And do you know how many people are afraid to think for themselves? They've been so deeply programmed that just the idea of thinking for themselves terrifies them. You know, and then they wonder why they're in a terrified world. So the Course in Miracles is saying, when I get to the point that I don't see anything to forgive, that's how I know I've completely forgiven. How do I know when I've completely released you from old beliefs that I was taught? When I am free of any fear when it comes to you. I'm wide open. I'm loving. Why? Because I know love is stronger than fear. Specialness isn't. That's why people think that fear is stronger than love. They actually think If I love you, I'm going to become more vulnerable. If I love you, then I'm really opening myself up more for you to be able to hurt me, because the pain that I have experienced in my life has come more from people that I knew than people that I didn't know. It hasn't been strangers in my life that have really hurt me. It's been the people that I knew that said they love me, mostly. Anybody else?
Yes.
Very seldom you walking down the street and a stranger just attacks you. But I bet you've gone through some attack in your special love relationships where y'all had fights and arguments. And so, but that was the person who says, I love you so much, I love you more than anything in the world. You know, and that's the one that said, you low down dog. You know, it's like, wait a minute now. And if I feel like I'm a low down dog, I'm going to go, baby, 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 give me another chance, baby. I'll do better next time, baby. Please, baby, please, baby, baby, please, baby. Baby, please, give me one more. I know I'm a low down, worthless low life. You're right. Right? People who believe that about themselves, they immediately succumb to the guilt. They succumb to the anger because they believe that about themselves. One of the side effects of starting to love yourself more is you will not tolerate things you used to tolerate. You will not put up with being abused and attacked. And then the person who's doing it is going to think you are really being selfish. That's the funny part. They're going to tell you, you're being selfish because you won't let me control you.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll run that on you. You really love me, then you would be my slave. Okay, now. I know. So, that was one paragraph of A Course in Miracles. That was one paragraph. Now, any questions about that paragraph? Any comments that you would like to make? CJ, what do we got online there?
The common conversation going on online is what a beautiful paradox it is that you know you're forgiven when you see nothing needs forgiving, because it's a total paradox, as is just about everything that is truth. This is just the opposite of what we've been. And so they've been playing in here with that concept. You know, if I saw you without pain, then I would know there was no pain.
Yes, and I love that incomplete forgiveness in which you recognize there's nothing to forgive. You are absolved completely. Like I had a situation with a person that I had grievances with for years, that I wanted to get past those grievances, and I wanted to have a loving relationship with them, and I wanted to have a conversation that we could do that I could open up and say, hey, would you please forgive me for any pain that you may have experienced through your relationship with me? Because the more you wake up spiritually, you'll realize that instead of trying to forgive everybody, you'll be the one that's wanting people to forgive you, because you'll see how selfish and crazy you were. Right. How you were the one that just as much contributed to what you was going through as anybody else. That's what happens when you start to wake up. So you think you're doing it so you can forgive your mama. And it's more like you're like, damn, I really need to ask my mama to forgive me, but my little selfish butt for some of the things that happened that was supportive that I never even recognized because I was so busy feeling entitled for what I thought I needed to receive. You know what I'm saying? You start to wake up, you see, well, oh, that was my scripts just as much. So anyway, I wanted to have a loving relationship with that person, and I let them know I wanted to have a loving relationship with them, and that I wanted to let go of all the grievances from the past. They saw it as a first step. They saw it as I believe they saw it as they would be letting me off the hook for what they think I did to them. So they didn't see that the forgiveness would free them. They were more still of the old school forgiveness, where they thought it was about them forgiving something I really did to them primarily. But the beauty of it was, I told that person, look, I didn't come here with an expectation as best I could of how you should respond. I came here to share what I would like to experience with you and how I'm feeling. And I respect your right to make your own choice about whether or not you feel like doing the same thing. The beauty of it was I felt free. See, because I was sincere. So even if that person wants to wait 6 months or 6 years before they will free themselves, because remember, they're the one that's feeling the pain of their grievance. They're the one that's feeling that contraction. They're the one that's potentially giving themselves some health issue that can come from anger, guilt, and grievances. So they thought the decision was whether or not to forgive me. But really, it was whether or not to free themselves. And they weren't quite ready to free themselves yet. But I could walk away feeling peace because we only have now. I'm willing to be loving with you now. I can't change what happened in the past, especially in your perception. But we can have peace now. And I'm ready whenever you're ready. So if that's 10 years from now, I'll be ready. But in those 10 years, I'm going to party like a big dog. Okay? I'm going to give myself joy and love until you're ready to forgive me. That's how you wait on people. If you want to know what spiritual waiting looks like, spiritual waiting for somebody to forgive you looks like you giving yourself the happiest, most peaceful life you can while they are deciding whether or not they want to join. That way you will be patient. Why wouldn't I be patient? I'm having a peaceful life. So I'll be patient. You can take 10 years if you want to, but because I'm not suffering in the interim. So therefore, you can take as long as you want. So remember that if you got some hardcore grievances going with somebody right now, you are the one that's experiencing the pain of that. They aren't. They may not be feeling any of that. So just keep that in mind, that forgiveness is just as much for you, if not more, than it is for the person that you think you're forgiving. And if I don't think I deserve peace yet, I won't forgive. I'll say that again. If you don't think you deserve not to suffer yet, then you will not forgive. Because I would be freeing me if I don't have those grievances and anger and guilt. So if I'm not ready for Earl to have a good time, I'm going to hang on to some grievances. If I'm ready for Earl to have a good time, I want to release you. Guess what? If you're having a good time, you don't have time for grievances no way.
Right.
If your life is full and you got wonderful people and you're enjoying yourself and you're feeling creative and you don't have time to think about what happened when you was in the 12th grade. If you're still holding a grievance for what happened in the 12th grade, you need to get a life. You really do. If you're a person and all you're doing is sitting around thinking about who you're upset about, because you need to get a life. That's all. That's what's missing. Don't worry about forgiving them. You need to just focus on getting a life. And then if you get a life, you won't even. You go, who was that at? Oh, what was that grievance? Oh, what? Oh. I'm having such a good time. There's so much love all around me. What you talking? Who? My uncle. What he did? What he do? But if you're sad and your life is pitiful and you're not being loving and you're scared and you're afraid to live your life and you're afraid to be authentic and you're afraid to give yourself joy, then you're going to be sitting around all day thinking about all the things you're upset about that you think somebody did to you that needs to be changed right now. That is just fear. You're just afraid to live your life. And you're using those people as an excuse for your fear. But you're innocent. You're a loving being.
Well, I've learned a lot today. So at the very beginning, you were like, your subconscious will be what is revealed to you in your perception. And so I woke up yesterday to my entire fence graffiti. And I was like, wow, this is a big call for love. And I was so grateful that I didn't just go so angry. And then I have that was one thing. And then I have another good friend, and her partner is really mean to me, and I think he's mean to her, and he's jealous. And I'm sitting here going, well, how do I relate to this? And you have given me the tools to say, listen, I'm just going to forgive them. I'm going to have my joy. I don't have to be. But I still had a little judgment on, I don't think that he should be that way to her or me, So.
Well, readiness is not mastery, right? Because I'm ready to be less judgmental doesn't mean I've mastered it at all. But the best way to keep yourself unhappy is to keep yourself unhappy about something you can't change. See, you can't change his behavior. So it's not conducive to you. Maybe through seeing your peace, a person like that may one day go, wow, I'm full of fear and upset all the time. Why is that person over there generally so peaceful? You know what I mean? So I call it not attacking myself because of somebody else. See, me being all upset is me attacking myself about what he's doing or not doing. So I also want to see what he's doing as a call for love. I want to see it as a call for God. Then I'm going to ask my higher self, right? What would you have me say? What do you want me to do, right? Because first I want to look at it correctly, then I want to ask for guidance. My guidance might say, nothing, pray, or my guidance might say, have a conversation, who knows? But what we want to do is get in the habit of asking. Because the name of the game is, when would I start listening to my own inner guidance? Not something out there, because I'm getting it, but I'm not hearing it. So this is about getting past that. Anybody else? Oh, you have hand that I'm going to ask you. You're welcome.
One of the spiritual passages later in here talks about how to prove your brother's innocence is by revealing your joy.
Yes.
Yes. And so, as you were talking, and the two coming together, we also can know if I have truly forgiven someone, I am able to come to joy. So it's a built-in test.
It's a built-in test.
It's a built-in test.
That's one that it says. It basically, what the Course in Miracles says later on is that your joy in my presence is the proof that you've forgiven me. If I'm happy, then that's your proof that I've forgiven you, because I'm not acting like you hurt me. So the best way to show people in your life that you have forgiven them is for you to have a happy life yourself. If you really want to show people you've forgiven them, it isn't so much the words that you use. It's not about whether you can walk up to them and say, I have forgiven you. It's if they see you joyful, peaceful, and fulfilled, they can't believe they're hurting you.
That's right.
See, I can't think I'm hurting you if you're smiling and you're having but the Course says something else too. But if you're with somebody, most of the time you're like 10 steps of death removed. You know, you've seen couples and friends that there's no joy. Then he said that's just like you said it to being in front of a person going, behold me, brother, by your hand I die.
Because you love me.
Yeah, this is what a person looks like when they're with you. This is how good of a time you give people. So if somebody's with you and they look like they are miserable, they are. but in a way they blaming you for it.
Yeah.
Right. They're kind of like blaming. I'm with you and look at me. So that's what I love about this book. It just goes straight to the core. It's like, sorry, bam. You're just trying to show everybody around you how everybody's hurting you and how you're the victim of everything, and you have nothing to do with your joy. So you're sad around every single person you around. You want to make sure nobody forgets how they hurting you. The Course says, you're being merciless. And I went, whoa! That's kind of it's kind of intense to say I'm being merciless around to people by showing everybody how miserable they're making me. If you were different, I'd be happy. Look at me. If you were different, I'd be happy. If you came home early, I'd be happy. If you took me out to dinner, I'd be happy. If you. And aren't I a prize to have? Aren't you just so glad you're with me? I'm making you work so hard for my dysfunctional love. I'm the worst lover on the planet, but I make you work for it. Okay, now, we need to get better. We need to do better. So all of us just need to forgive ourselves today, don't we? All of us know we've been there. Some of you might be doing it right now. You might, before you came in today, you made a big old guilt trip on somebody right before you came here. Yeah, so just forgive yourself. It just means you want love, and you're going about it the way the world taught you to go about it, which obviously doesn't work for anybody. As many relationship challenges as people have, and marriages that break up, and relationships that break up, yet everybody rushing to get into it, right? Would you buy a product that has the failure rate that the average relationship and marriage does? How many, over half the people in this country getting divorces, I can't wait to get married. It's like, you wouldn't buy a product if you went to Target and they said, well, 50% of the time this works, see? But you wouldn't buy that product. You wouldn't buy that product. But we do it the way we do relationships. And the Course in Miracles saying you can have a beautiful relationship. But you got to use different relationship rules, thoughts, attitudes. That's what's got to change. And you can have the kind of relationship you've always dreamed of, friendship. So you had your hand up. Mm-hmm.
Me?
Yeah.
I was trying to all this together and relate it to A Course in Miracles. In A Course in Miracles, it states that forgiveness is basically a mistake. It's our perception that we perceive, and once we forgive somebody or a situation, then we look at it in a rightful way. Well, a miracle is a correction of a wrong thought process, correct?
Which is exactly what forgiveness means. The definition of Course in Miracles of forgiveness and a miracle is the same thing.
Right.
So it's the exact same thing. It's nothing. True forgiveness is me giving what's going on an interpretation that gives me peace and would give peace to the other person. We can make it more complex than that. But when I'm correctly seeing you, and when I'm forgiving you, I'm seeing what you're doing for what it really is. And the Course says there's only two things we're always doing. Only two things that we're always doing. Only how many? Two things. We're either experiencing love or we're experiencing a call for love.
Right.
So that's all you see in the world. The only thing that you see happen in the world are people are saying, I want love. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it, but I'm screaming for it. I want love. I want help. I want healing. I want love. It'll take the form of me shooting somebody, getting mad at somebody, angry at somebody, going off at somebody. But what I'm really doing is saying, give me some attention. Give me some love. Give me some love. Give me some love. I need help. I need help. I need help. I'm not saying if I get on top of a building and shoot 20 people. That's not saying. I need help. I need love. I need guidance. I need truth.
And that's the ego.
And that part of us that's calling for love is the part we would call the ego. It's just the part of us that is afraid. A person that hates me because of the color of my skin is a person that's afraid. See, we don't want to break it down like that because most people don't want you to be afraid of them. So when someone thinks that you are afraid of them, they'll go, well, I don't really want you to be afraid of me. What could I do? See, we don't want to call it that. We don't want to call it these people who attack are afraid. That's why they're attacking. Yeah. If I hate myself and don't think I deserve to live, I'm going to give what I want to receive. So if I believe I don't deserve to live, I'm increasing the possibilities I will be killed by killing someone. See, people give what they want to receive. Never forget that. People are always giving what they want to, even if they don't realize that's what they're doing. They're giving what they want to receive. So if I'm giving everybody a hard time, I believe I deserve a hard time from life. I'm teaching this class because I believe I deserve love and peace. So I'm going to put out there what I want to receive. You know what I also know? People who are not ready for love, who are afraid of love, who don't think they deserve love, they're going to avoid me like the plague. So therefore, somebody that would have attacked me and not appreciated me, they're not even attracted to me. So therefore, I'm safe. So in other words, be your authentic self. That's why I don't try to be the kind of teacher that I think people think a teacher ought to act like. I show up as myself, sharing the way it comes to me. And people who don't like me, or people who come to the class and go, he's not my cup of tea, fine. But in the old days, I would have went, what did I do wrong? Could I do my class different? Do I need to not do something? It's like nowadays, it's like, okay, thank you. Thank you. Someone who doesn't appreciate me has decided they don't want to be around me. That is loving. That is loving. So who's left? The people that want to. And that is just as true for you. Don't compromise who you are to have anybody, so that you can be surrounded by people who are nurtured by who you are, and they appreciate who you are. And they feel like they're being blessed by you, and you'll say stuff like, I don't even know what I'm doing. You're saying that I benefited you, and I have no idea. Like somebody might walk up to me and say, you said such and such and such thing, and it really helped me. And I'll go, I don't even remember saying it. Yeah. It's the consciously selected miracles you have to watch out for. Yeah. It's when you decide who needs your help. And when you decide who you're going to help. Now, those are the ones that's still in therapy. The ones you gave your help, that you decided you knew what was best for them. Those are the ones that are really working through those issues. They were about to be okay till you came along, then they got really traumatized. So most of the time when you're helping people the most, you won't even know you're doing it because you'll just be being yourself. That's right. That's what love would do.
I don't know why I heard just today so different, because you said it dozens of times differently. But in touching on what she said, to know how to think correctly is a miracle. When we ask the average person, did Jesus do miracles? They say, yeah, he restored the blind eyes. But the real miracle was he was demonstrating correct thinking.
Yes.
You are the light of the world.
Yes.
That is correct thinking. That's the miracle, to understand that. Not even getting a physical healing, that's temporary. But to have correct thinking is eternal.
Well, one of the reasons why the Course says, to add to that, the Course says one of the reasons why we don't experience what we call miraculous healing. Like, for instance, let's say I broke my arm and the bone was protruding out of my arm. And I said, Holy Spirit, God, please, Jesus, whatever, heal me. And all of a sudden the bone retracted, it was healed, the scar was gone, and my arm was... He said that would be more threatening to our sanity than putting a cast on for 3 months. And so in case you're wondering why you don't get the miraculous healing, it'll freak you out. Okay? So he's saying when you get to the point you wouldn't be freaked out, you're going to see things that will blow your mind as far as miracles. Like my credit score. That's when I knew God was real, when I looked at my credit score. And they said, excellent. Or, there is a God. Forget walking water, boy. Getting 800. That's I know that's God right there. Yes, Miss Maria.
You know what I really liked about this whole paragraph is that I don't know about anyone else's experience, but as we were going along, I could think of like 18 different things that I could apply some love to.
Yeah.
But the beautiful part about what it says in there, though, is that like any ounce of willingness I have, all of those things are going to be used towards my forgiveness, towards correct perception.
Yes.
And I just have to be willing to like allow God or love or my higher power or spirit to facilitate that change, because it'll use any ounce of willingness. So if I am done trying to be right, and I want to say I want a different way to look at any of these things, whether it's finances, relationships, my job, time, whatever, that the Holy Spirit, God, will use all of those things. So any ounce of like guilt or like, oh crap, I've done that, or that's a call for love, that's a call for love. That call for love is going to be answered by God if I'm willing.
That's right. Yeah. That's exactly right. And see, that's the stuff I see, like what you saw. Oh, you're going to side with everything, every sign of my willingness at any level to have me have more life and love and be healed, no matter what I've come up with, even my relationships, even my jobs, whatever it is, my thoughts, that love in me, God in me, Spirit in me is going to use that to my advantage, will not leave me until love is all I receive. That's like somebody saying, I'm going to walk you to the car and I'm going to stay with you until I know you're safe and you can drive off. See, that's what I'm hearing in this book. I'm hearing some really cool, loving stuff that's mind-boggling in its gentleness and in its love. And the more I believe I deserve it, the more I see it. And I don't know about you, but we don't hear all this all day when we turn on the 5 o'clock news. So when people come to a class like this and in their mind act like it's just ordinary to be in the class where someone's telling you you deserve 100% love and you're powerful and you love and that you deserve to have something love you no matter what, that's not something you hear everywhere you go. So for us to join on that and be grateful for that and want to make sure we hear that, that's why I do Facebook Live, that's why I'm always trying, I got hundreds of classes on my website that you can listen to and audios on earlpurdy.com. On YouTube, I got 1,000 videos. You know, I've had over 1 million hits of the videos. Why? Because I want to be a voice for love. I want to be the love that I want to receive. I don't want to be another one of those people that were just talking about it, but they're not trying to be it. They're not trying to live it. And then I've been protected over the years because literally people who want to attack and who are suspicious and afraid, they do you a great favor. They usually, if you give them space, they will go. So if that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But don't you stop being loving because of how you think someone may take advantage. No one can take advantage of a truly conscious, loving being. There's no such thing as a person taking advantage of me. Because I believe anything that happens to me at some level, I called it to myself and there's a lesson that I need to learn out of that. So there's nothing that can't be used for my good, for my benefit. But I found that if you really start to change, you don't even have those issues come up. People don't even see you. you will become invisible to obnoxious people. They literally, you could be standing right there and they won't even see you because they can't see peace. All they see is threat, what might hurt them. And so that makes me feel compassion for a person like that. Because think of the world they must live in all day. And if they're living within their own consciousness and they have hate and fear and anger and suspicion, that's how they're looking at everything. Just being them is punishment enough. You don't need to add anything to it. That person is already hurting themselves enough all day. So you are going to have a love that's going to be with you until you get to the point that you know you're so loved that nothing can change your mind about that. And that's the truth. Would you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much today? Holy Spirit. Woo! Would you acknowledge your brothers and sisters in the house? They're so cool. Some cool people in here. So we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation for those who'd like to and move to do that. As a full-time teacher of the course, I do it on a free will donation basis so that people can attend anything I do regardless of their financial situation. I'm going to do one last little quick recap and then we'll run out of here as fast as we can.
Don't even look at each other.
Don't even look, don't you dare look at each other and get out of here as quick as you can. I know it's a oneness class, but don't you dare join. Okay. Also, those of you online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. Earl Purdy, P-U-R-D-Y. I also have been an astrologer and a numerologist for many, many, many years. It was what got me on my spiritual path. It was what made me aware that there's more to this than what it looks like. And been working with people with the Course in Miracles for over 3 decades. I'm available for one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions, where I can go in depth with you with any issues that you're ready to get past. And also, I could also, as weird as it may sound, I could be very helpful in answering that question that most people ask: why am I here? What are my talents? What are my lessons? What would be the easiest way to go through this experience? Because we should not be suffering. It's not necessary to suffer. Don't believe it, you know. You didn't come here just because somebody had some good or not so good sex. Okay, you're here for a deeper reason than that. You're an eternal soul that came here with something in mind. It wasn't an accident that you're a woman or a man. Your race isn't an accident. Your parents are an accident. Being born in this country is not an accident. There's nothing about your being here that was not part of the divine plan. And that divine plan, a lot of it can be shared with you, and I can do that in a session with you. You're ready to have an easier experience now if you open your mind. Life can get a lot easier for an open-minded person. It's amazing how much easier life gets when people are willing to sometimes check out weird stuff. You know, it's amazing how weird stuff can have a lot of the answers. So here's the last paragraph, and then we're going to rush out of here. All right, here we go. Quick review. Do you want to have a loving instant? You're going to have a loving instant. Spirit is not going to leave you as your teacher until love is all you experience all the time. Would you like to experience nothing but unconditional love all the time? Yes. Would you love to experience nothing but unconditional love all the time?
Yes.
God has a teaching assignment. Love has a teaching assignment. You do know what love and spirit is going to do? It's going to use everything in this world for your release and your happiness. So tell spirit, use everything in this world for my happiness. Say what? Use everything in this world for my happiness. Are you willing?
Yes.
Love is swift to utilize whatever you offer it on behalf of your happiness. Do you know that love is swift to utilize whatever you offer love on behalf of your happiness? Do you know that if it's love, its care and concern for you is limitless? If it's real love, its care and concern for you is limitless. Do you know that that's true? Forgiving is not loss, but forgiveness is your healing and happiness. To forgive is to see things correctly. That's what the Course calls forgiveness. It tells us that forgiveness is not trying to overlook what you think somebody did to you for real. That's not forgiveness. I say forgiveness is not trying to overlook what you think someone did to you. That's not real forgiveness. It's understanding that everything is love or call for love. Everything is love or call for love. Everything is love or call for help and a call for healing. Let your inner teacher now, invite your inner teacher to come in and teach you what true love really is. Mighty Companions, Tuesdays at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. I do the Way of Mastery on Facebook Live. Thursdays I do Hardcore Course in Miracles, but it's more of an advanced class at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And then Sundays we do our Course in Miracles class here. Go to my website and sign up for the contact list. You can go to the Earl Purdy page on Facebook, and that's where you can watch all the live presentations. There are hundreds, there are audios that you can download, listen to while you're running and doing stuff. There's a lot of help, a lot of support. So you deserve it. Use me. Use me. Use me. Just like a car you don't use, it gets rusty. If you don't let nobody use you, you're going to get rusty. And people go out of their way to not be used. I want to be used. It's the people who are not used that are ones that are rusty.
Yeah.
So I want to be used for love. I want to be used for the truth. So thank you, CJ, for working with everybody today. I appreciate that. Mighty Companions, may the Course be with you. Would you give it up? I appreciate you. Hugs are available for those who wouldn't mind a good juicy hug. Thank you, my Mighty Companions online. I love you.